Episode 113 of the Wilderness Podcast is brought to you by our Patreon supporters. Support the show at patreon.com/The Wilderness Podcast. Our supporter of the week is Beer Daddy. We're also brought to you by Audible. Go to audibletrial.com/wild to get a free month and a free book. Welcome to episode 113 of the Wilderness Podcast. I'm your host, Dilz, and back ready to attack is Deagin.
Hey guys, how's it going?
This week, Jagex drops the collection log on us, some information on the Deadman Mode permadeath beta test that happened the past week, and some clarification on some of the PvP changes that had happened last week. And we also have another contest where you can win a new phone. For some reason, I feel like we've already talked about some of this stuff, but maybe it's just things they had mentioned during the PvP tournament. I don't really know. This kind of looks familiar. But lastly, this is an anniversary of, well, this past week was the anniversary of a very significant date that had happened in the RuneScape timeline. But before we get into all that, Deagin, what have you been doing?
Not too much, really. Work, a lot of work. There's been like a flu that hit everyone in my job, and there's me and one other guy that has avoided it.
Nice.
Yeah, staying inside playing video games all day actually builds up the immune system.
Who would have known?
Yeah. Who would have thought playing a lot of RuneScape just makes you resistant to all forms of cancer? Oh wait, never mind. So I get called in like all the time, just covering. Which isn't bad, you know.
You're the only one who's not dying.
Yeah, we have like so many new people working that like I'm also pretty new, right? But I've been having to like train people. Like we had like a new supervisor come in, and I had to train him, which is super weird. Like I kind of trained one of my bosses, air quotes.
So a biological attack has happened at your workplace, and now you're moving up the ladder.
Yeah,
so that's one way if you want to get a promotion, just get everyone super ill.
But it's been super weird because like there's been like a lot of money missing from the store. Not a lot, but like people keep fucking up transactions and shit.
True.
And I know it's not me because I'm super like
good at the math.
Yeah, and I like double, triple check all that stuff. I'm like really careful. I'm pretty sure I know who it is because the dude's a little bit of a fuckhead. He's not like, you know, I'm going to steal $60. Like, he just fucks up and gives something away for free, you know? Yeah, a lot of work. New Path of Exile. The big update came out on the 7th. The Betrayal League.
Cool. Okay.
So I've been ripping that pretty hard.
Yeah, I've downloaded that game a while back when you had first started talking about it. Never really got anywhere in it. I think I jumped in, and then I was like, eh. I'm not sure if I'm craving that, you know, those Diablo-esque games.
Yeah. Well, I guess with the whole thing with the new Diablo game that's coming out, Diablo Immortals for the mobile.
Yeah, that's right.
Everyone kind of jumped onto PoE, and like a lot of the Diablo, well, like one of the only Diablo content creators is like, hey guys, you guys should try this out, you know what I mean? So it's been really popular, but that's one of those games that like, it's super there's a lot of depth to the game.
Yeah.
And there's like still like I'm playing this season, there's shit that I had no idea that existed, and like you know, there's a new aspect of the game now that I can play around with. But playing a bit of that. I got the Call of Duty Black Ops 4. The special edition where it's like $40 and you get like the shitty battle royale and like the multiplayer. You don't get story or the zombies.
I thought there was no story mode.
I think, well, there might not be. I don't know. No. There's like a cheaper version of it where you just get the two modes, and that's fun. And then I guess the past 2 weeks now have been coordinating with a group of people, like my buddies, do D&D.
Nice, the Dind.
And then they all flopped first week, and I got really fucking mad at all of them because like I went and planned it all out. I'm like, all right, we're recording. We're playing at this time, blah, 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 blah. And everyone's like, yeah, for sure. And then when that day came up, nobody came online for the whole day or responded.
That's fun.
I was like, yo, fuck you guys. So then they rescheduled for this week. And then we did that, and that was so the idea was I was going if it like was okay, if it wasn't complete trash, but was to like record it and then have it as like a Patreon thing just for like some filler content.
True. I've always thought about doing like a D&D, but it's in the RuneScape universe. Obviously, you're not like, okay, got to train my wood cutting. Okay, roll, and you get a log. Roll again. Nope, no log. But I think it would be cool to have it. I think it would be cool to have it where you like meet up in a tavern in Lumbridge. You know what I mean? I think that would be fun. I've thought about doing that, but
roll for experience. Oh, 16 experience. Nice. All right, almost got to level 2. Yeah. Roll for experience. A 4. Shit. Yeah. Yeah, it would be pretty interesting to have like a D&D like setting, or like rules and like a RuneScape setting.
Yeah, but the problem is getting a group together that's going to be consistent. Because I've been playing with a group, and we normally meet up on Fridays. Mm-hmm. But even still, like sometimes I'm just busy Friday night. So like, you know what I mean? Like it's tough, and generally you want to do it every single week. Yep. So it gets tough. It's a commitment. It's like a hobby it's like a lifestyle hobby almost.
It's definitely fun. Like, so this is my first time DMing, and I haven't really played the game. I did like 4 sessions in total ever.
Cool.
So I'm pretty like in terms of just like playing, because we played a little bit.
Yeah,
I played a little bit with another group of people, like one session, and that's it. So I'm really like inexperienced with D&D, but nobody wanted to DM for like my group of buddies, and I was like, you know what, fuck it, I'll do it. I'm gonna be really bad at it, but
DMing's tough, and it takes a lot of work,
a lot of memorizing, a lot of like. There's a lot of weird things because it's online. We have to use this website called Roll20,
right?
And it's kind of clunky, and it's not like in person. You can have your screen, the DM screen.
Yeah,
you can have all your notes like there. You can kind of just like look, but on the computer, I have like my second monitor with my notes, and then all this like relevant information for shit that like they might do, like secondary info, and then on my main thing, I have like the main Roll20 site, and then all the other like both monitors are like, you know, there's like 30 tabs on each thing, just all opened, and everything's, you know what I mean? There's so much shit with such little space, and then of course they do nothing that I had planned or had any idea, or they just like, no, let's ignore every single opportunity to do any cool quest. We're gonna go straight into town and just role play for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's D&D for
and
you.
I'm just like, oh, for fuck's sakes, all right.
Yep, you put all this work into like this elaborate like little side quest or whatever, and they're gonna miss it every time. Or you do like riddles and like all these secret rooms that you would think are super obvious. I remember when I was doing it for a group, I had written there these coffins that had these elvish symbols on it, and then on the wall had elvish writing, and like two of them could speak Elvish and read Elvish, and I was thinking they saw it on the wall, and they're like, it's written in Elvish, and you're like, oh, cool. All right, well, let's continue through, and you're just like, well, doesn't someone want to read it in Elvish? And then maybe it'll tell you what's on the chests, and you have to do something, and maybe there'll be loot or monsters in there.
Yeah.
Nope. Let's just move to the next room. You're like, oh, son of a...
Yeah, the first encounter I had with my group, I had an NPC escorting them to a part, and then he goes missing during like all the shit that happens. I don't want to go into too much detail. But then they get hit by like a group of goblins, and they like kill all of them. They like subdue one of them, and one guy, the only person that could speak goblin in my group, is like interrogating him, but he's playing like some really dumb person.
Right.
And so like he asks him like, where's your hideout? And I was like, oh yeah, you know, northeast, blah 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 blah. Follow the stream, blah 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 blah. And then like, all right. Okay, I'm gonna go cut off his head, and they're like, no, don't, we need him to escort us. And he just like rolls like a really good hit, chops off his head, and they're like, well, now there's absolutely no way we can find where this hideout is. Let's just go to town. And I'm just like hinting heavily, like, well, you could,
you pass by a path leading off the road. Well, let's keep going.
Yeah. Can the ox go up? Yeah, you can bring the wagon up. Well, shit, what happens if we get attacked and we can't hide it then? You know what, let's just not do it. I'm like, all right.
Next thing you know, they're setting up their own little shop at the town, and then You're like, aren't you guys going to kill stuff? It's more financially stable if we just sell potions and stuff.
Yeah.
For fuck's sake.
They're flipping on the Grand Exchange all of a sudden.
Yeah. But that'd be cool to, maybe we should see if people who listen would like to do like a online D&D thing in the RuneScape universe. Cuz that would be cool, and I think it's hard to get a group together and be like, "Okay, guys, you're in Lumbridge."
The issue's metagaming.
Well, you wouldn't like,
I want to talk to the cook. How do you know there's a cook? Well, in RuneScape, I'm going to go, can I get cook's assistant? No. But in RuneScape, you know what I mean?
I'm going to rush to Sears Village and do waterfall quest to get a bunch of levels. No, it's not. It's like not 1-to-1 of RuneScape. It's just,
yeah.
Ugh. I'm going to kill fire giants for an hour because I need a rune scimitar.
I'm going to kill the wise old man, get that blue party hat.
Yeah. And sell it for bills.
Yeah. But, yeah, I didn't really do much past a little bit, just like work, and then dicking around with like D&D stuff, and a few games.
Cool.
Yeah, what'd you do this week?
My school's wrapping up. I got my exams going on.
Nice.
Kind of prepping for that.
How many exams?
Just not many, like 4.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are for radio this week, which I don't know how you do. I don't know. It should be easy. Like, we have an on-air production class, which is a lot about just how you talk and articulation, and I don't really know what the exam's going to be on. You know what I mean? Because a lot of it would be like ways to improv.
What if it's just like, how do you say this word? And it has the phonetic spelling of every, like, of like the word in like 6 different ways. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, it's
bullshit.
Yeah, I don't know. It should be interesting, but we'll see. And then that's all wrapped up. And then I got some time off, right in time for the Christmas holidays. So yeah, been doing a little bit of RuneScape. Well, I haven't really done much RuneScape, to be honest. From last week, I've been doing a bunch of Slayer, and then here and there, I'll jump on when I have time and play, a couple hours and shit. End up getting 99 range.
Nice.
Just fun. It's been sitting at like 100k experience for a while, so kind of about time.
Yep.
And kind of doing some farming. The Cabos Lowlands is coming out in January.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to get all, in shape for that. I want my farming to be up high enough so I can do everything in it. And I already got 95 Slayer, so I'm good there. But I'm just kind of doing Slayer in my off time.
95?
Yeah, for the Hydra.
Oh, sorry. I thought you said you just got 95. I was like,
no, I already.
No, you're way higher than that. What?
Yeah, I have that. It's just like I don't.
Yeah, just get all the requirements needed.
Pretty much, so I can jump in there and test it out. It's kind of cool because my account's finally at that level when new content comes out. I'm like pretty ready to jump into it.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I would have to like prep and get ready, and then even then, I'm like, don't know if I'll be able to do this efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
But now, we're looking pretty good. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Just some Slayer, some wood cutting, farming. Yeah, that's it. Should we jump right into the news then?
Yeah, I think it's time.
Cool, it's time to jump into that news.
All right, so I guess starting off with the updates to talk about is the collection log. So the collection log is a one-stop shop for players to see which drops, pets, and rewards they've obtained on their adventures from various bosses, raids, all that good stuff.
Mini games and general travels.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's not bad. Yeah, if you head upstairs to the Varrock Museum and speak to the collector to acquire the collection log, or you can just access it via the achievement gallery in your POH. If you prefer the log be made more accessible, let us know. Yeah, they should just have it as a thing with like a Ring of Wealth or something.
Yeah, that's what I see. People thought it would be added onto the quest menu. How you have your quest minigame, achievement diaries, and the Zaya houses. They thought it would be added into that section too, but it turns out, yeah, it is just a book unless you want to go to your POH, which I think is kind of silly.
Yeah, I don't like how you have to like talk to a dude to like enable it.
Not even just that. I don't like having to go take out my book just to see, you know what I mean? See my collection log.
Yeah. Well, do you remember the achievement diaries? You actually had to go and talk to people to like start them.
Yeah.
I never did that. I was like, fuck that. I'm way too lazy. And eventually they just made it like auto unlocked. I don't know. It's going to be the same thing with this. People are like, I don't really want to go to the museum. I don't care. I don't have a POH.
It's just one of those things that's fun to open up and look at just to see, reminisce on, you know what I mean, your past
But
item acquiring.
the main thing is, what if someone's new or not new? What if someone comes back to the game and they don't know this is a thing?
That's a big one too, because like, yeah, we go through the dev blogs every week, but not everybody does that. And there's tons of things that I've just forgotten existed because they pump out these dev blogs so often.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, they're kind of making the same mistakes. But overall, I like this because it devalues Ironman. It's a joke, but
I don't really get it. What do you mean?
Well, because like Ironman are like, check out this dragon axe I got.
True,
and then you're like, I had to do Winter Todd. Speaking of though, so if you get unique items and you have this enabled, and you get like a dragon axe from Winter Todd, it'll also say you got it from the Dagginoth Kings.
Okay.
Which is weird. Same thing with like God Sword shards. It'll say that you got one, that one from all of them. It makes the completionist type of people where they want to like get every single drop or something.
Yeah.
It kind of like fucks with it a bit, but who cares? But yeah, what if you've already earned an item? So if you have untradeable or like pets, anything that's really untradeable.
Yeah, basically.
It'll automatically be added. Tradable items already earned will not be displayed automatically. This means regular and Ironman players will have to reobtain any tradable drops they wish to be displayed in their log. This is because there are so many tradable items in the log with potential future additions to come that it would be unfeasible to perform all the checks required for everything that an Ironman might already own.
Makes sense.
Is it unfeasible because of the engine, or is it because of the development team? Because that would be a pretty heavy thing. Maybe they just never had anything to record that they have the drops.
That could be it.
Automatically add them.
And yeah, like they said, there's so many items that it's just like it would probably be tedious and long. This probably just seems like pump it out quicker. Also, I've seen the suggestion that maybe Ironman can use their uniques or the uniques that they've gotten on this collection log to add it.
Yeah,
there's no other way to really get them, so why not?
Yeah, I just feel bad for all those people that have every single raid item, and then they have they've gotten every single drop, and now they don't have, like, imagine getting a Tebow like 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, it's not in my log. That sucks. But anyways, pretty cool update,
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I like this type of stuff. It would be kind of cool to have something unlock once you've completed every single item. You know what I mean?
Like a completionist cape?
Something like that. But I think it would be, I don't know. It does seem like something that would be kind of fun to work towards. You know what I mean? Yeah, you can work towards it, but for what? So that when you throw house parties, people can see it?
Yeah.
Can they even see it, or are they going to look at their own collection log?
I think they would look at your collection log. Because that would mean you could go to someone's POH and just unlock it. I believe it's tied to the account in the POH.
Which is that's pretty neat, but it would be cool to have maybe an emote you unlock or something. I don't know.
Maybe even like the ability to add a draw party room to your POH, like something silly.
Yeah. That'd be cool.
I guess is that pretty much it for that?
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. The Deadman Winter 2018 tournament and Spring 19 season. That's what we got coming up now. Various changes have been made to the Deadman Winter 2018 tournament, like a much larger 1v1 arena, and this is due to the increase in amount of players participating in 1v1s from 128 to 256. Other changes to gameplay include improved global drop table, the ability to use looting bag everywhere, access to Revenant Case, and the removal of PvP armors.
Cool.
Pretty big. I guess the armors were seen. They kept the weapons for the tournament, at least.
I could see that. I didn't really see the armors used too much. Like the weapons you saw everywhere in the 1v1s, but the armor not as much.
Did we see armors? I can't even.
I'm sure that I might have not noticed it, but I know. Yeah, most people weren't.
I think a lot of it maybe just the meta of like you just want to bring like a DPS and a tank switch.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Anyways, yeah, so they made some big changes. I'm wondering why they changed the 1v1s from 128 to 256, preventing clans, I guess. Because they had a reason why it was just 128 instead of 250. Remember how they made the two zones?
Yeah.
And then they're going to do like the last 64 of each area or something would be put into the 128s.
Yeah, I don't know.
I just thought they actually couldn't handle that many people in an area doing 1v1s for like a good spectator. or viewership, I guess, because maybe players would be like de-rendering and stuff. If you ever go to like the Grand Exchange, you don't see everyone. Like you go to World 1, you just see people in like a tiny square around you.
It could be the fact that like maybe they've noticed most people enjoy watching the 1v1s the most because they've also made it so the fog moves in faster.
Yeah.
So that also, maybe they just see it like people want to watch 1v1s more often, so just have more of them.
That, and like what I've noticed is that the clans don't fight each other as much. Like they do, but they're all, they kind of like pussyfoot around each other. They don't, it's not like a big, it's like one person gets caught and the clan will just like farcast them and like run away.
Yeah.
There are some cool modes like de-spearing like leaders into the gas.
But that's rare.
Happens like once. Yeah, then they talk about the permadeath playthrough. So they'll be hosting a beta playthrough of the final stages of the Deadman Winter Finals, 90 minutes ish. It's important to note the purpose of this beta is to test mechanics, and like bugs, not like refine your gameplay.
Yeah, or find exploits and hide it from the Jagex.
So if you're listening, I believe that's already gone through actually, but yeah.
Yeah, when they released this on Thursday, basically a couple hours from its release, the beta was going to be happening.
Yeah, anywho, well, I guess we'll move on. I don't know how big the listeners are into Deadman mode. I don't know how much you guys like to how much you guys participate in this stuff.
Sure, there's some that like to participate, but most of them are just casual viewers like us.
Yeah. Yeah, anyways, we'll move on to some PvP changes. So, spec tabbing. Following the feedback, the recently implemented teleblock after using a special attack in PvP has been changed. The teleblock only occurs when a special attack has been used, rather than having the special attack bar highlighted. This, I didn't even know. That's actually really smart. Like, for someone to be abusing it. Because you could queue up, like, an AGS spec or something.
Yeah.
And just sit there and chill. Now you're not teleblocked. You go and inspect someone, and like if you don't hit or you don't hit well, you just telly out.
Yeah, you do it.
And if you do hit well, you just swap to the Gmaul and finish them off instantly. Yeah, it's kind of cool. But yes, now they've changed it that when you use a special, the teleblock's implemented, and this applies to both melee and ranged special attacks. So in addition to this, now only special attacks used in PvP scenarios will have the teleblock applied, meaning players engaging in PvM will be able to teleport after using a spec. This change only applies to wilderness or normal worlds or anywhere in PvP or BH worlds. So could I just be on like world 14? I can't spec tab some dude at Ents just to troll around?
I think you'd still do it. It's just with the teleblock, right? That's what they're...
Yeah, so you can't do it then. See, I thought when they were making PvP changes, it was affecting PvP and bounty hunter situations, not so much like the average, like you're doing a slayer task in the wilderness. And then, because like I do this all the time, I'm getting an ecumenical key and I'll bring like a Gmaul with me just as a joke, and I see some like idiot with me, I get my key drop, I'll spec the guy and tell you just as a joke. Not, well, if I kill him, I'm not going to give his items back, but like I would just do it for the funsies.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to get TB'd for this,
you'd have to run away and then teleport. It's not like a 3-minute one, right?
But like, that's half the fun of it, is that like, because I've never actually killed anyone doing it, but like, I've had people do it to me where like, you're chilling, you see a guy like rush you, hit like a couple zeros, and he just like, and he tellies, and you're like, what an asshole.
The annoying part would be if he actually killed you and then he just teleports, or he would probably loot your body. But
part of the wilderness. It's part of that's the little fun that a PVMer gets in the wilderness. Just like a little troll spec and peacing out.
That was a little bit of risk involved.
Even at like the Rev Caves or something, like before you leave, I've done that where I'm just like, I'll spec this guy. I'll pop him with my blowpipe and peace out, just as a little fun. Venom him just to be a dick.
Now when you do that, you're gonna have to wait a bit. It's a little bit more risky.
So note that the only specs that have this effect are ones that negatively affect your opponent. So special attacks such as the Excalibur, which is the worst example, will not, like, honestly, Staff of the Dead. That's
Staff
what
of the Dead, yeah.
because that doesn't it. You could argue it does because now all their melee attacks do like half damage to you. Or Staff of the Dead Pure is able to like.
Well, it makes it very like will Staff of the Dead be included in this?
They should say
what about
that.
What about Dragon Battle Axe? You know,
they use literally the worst example, an Excalibur, which raises your defense.
They should have listed them.
Or like used, Battle Axe at least, or Staff of the Dead, something that like might actually see some use. Well, Battle Axe not so much, but it's more use than an Excalibur in the wilderness. Anyways, save zones on PvP worlds. So when entering a safe zone in PvP worlds, while in combat with another player, you and your opponent will now be able to continue fighting for an extra 6 seconds while in the safe zone.
Cool.
Anti-spam changed the Rev Cave's entrance. You're now prevented from spamming the entrance/exit to avoid PKers. Dumb, but okay.
Whatever.
Yeah, let's just, make it harder to escape clans in Rev Caves.
I can get why they did. It's kind of annoying. It's a bit of an exploit on the way the game works, right?
Yeah, well then do it on everything.
That's what they're kind of doing, aren't they?
Just the Rev Caves.
Yeah, I guess that happens the most.
Well, they should do it everywhere. I don't know. I'm not going to complain, but that's really dumb. I have a lot to say about that, but fuck it. Extra world changes. So as the player traffic stabilizes for mobile, with the most increased activity being on members' worlds, they've adjusted the number of members and free-to-play worlds to give more capacity for members. And they'll keep adjusting the ratio. There have been some suggestion for more Wintertod worlds. There's no obligation to use suggested worlds, though. You can do Wintertod at any world.
Yeah. From the sounds of it, though, it does seem like many of these free-to-play players are transitioning to members.
Yeah.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah, we're retaining a high player base. Like, there was 100,000 players today, I saw. So that's pretty nice.
Yeah, we currently have 117,000.
Yeah.
So we're like almost always above that 100K mark. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in other news, filtering spells on desktop now arranges the spells starting at the top left corner of the spell tab. This makes it look neater and more consistent compared to having it disabled. The ring inventory models have been slightly realigned to better center them in the worn equipment screen. For all you Scythe of Atura users, it is now possible to deposit charges from the Scythe into the Vire Well by using it on the Vire Well. They'll be rounded down to 100 hits per charge. They have fixed the Bounty Hunter overlay so that the minimize button is closer. Yeah. Using Stony Basalt with a drained agility level below 73 will no longer teleport players to the bottom of the shortcut. And yeah, the Legends Guild shop now restocks faster on Mithril Seeds on Deadman mode worlds. That's kind of nice.
Cool.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for the those updates.
All the fun little stuff at the bottom there.
But yeah, moving on. Winter sweepstakes. Win a Razer Phone 2 that you'll never receive from Jagex because there's King of the Skill people who still haven't got anything.
Yeah.
Yep, you also get 6 months of membership, so that's nice. All you have to do is follow the link below that they provide on the website, and you'll have a chance to win. Not much to say about that. I don't really have much to add.
Yeah, you basically go to their Facebook page and share their competition, and for each friend who enters, you get 2 bonus entries. One of those fun contests.
Yeah.
And they do say read the FAQs in competition terms and TNCs. What the fuck's TNC stand for? I don't know, because both of those pages 404 on me.
Terms and challenges. I have no idea.
Terms and conditions.
Yeah.
Right, that's the word. But yeah, though they tell you to check them out and the pages doesn't even actually exist. Oh well, whatever.
Yep. You can buy soundtrack vinyls in music retailers. To all you guys that want to mix, or I don't know, you got vinyl collectors. You can buy soundtracks.
Wait, so I can go into like a record store and find the RuneScape soundtracks there?
Probably in the UK somewhere.
That's dope.
Yeah, maybe online.
They're kind of cool if you're into like collecting RuneScape memorabilia. They look pretty dope. Like you can open them up and one of them has like that map, that old school map we were talking about a couple episodes back.
Yeah.
They could spend like $400 on.
Yeah.
Not actually, I think it was 120, but yeah, cool, fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's it for the updates.
It seems like they've really, since RuneFest, doesn't it seem like they've slowed down with having their updates, sort of? Like, they've been smaller updates since RuneFest.
Yeah, I mean, Cables comes out in, like, a month.
It seems like since they've divided the team, they feel less obligated to make a bunch of little changes every week. They still have them, like we just talked about them, but it seems they're more transitioning to dropping these big updates on us like a few times a year, compared to, like, they still did drop big updates, but they would always have, you know what I mean? Like we had the leather shields that you can make, like updates like that, right?
Yeah.
Where they would always have those coming out. And they always felt the need of having a bunch of these small updates to come out to satisfy us. But it seems like they kind of took a step back. And they're going to release these dev blogs still, but probably put more work into these big updates once, or like 3 or 4 times a year.
Yeah, well, they kind of have, like, they've always done updates every week. And with the PvP team, they don't actually, they can just say, it's a balance change, and then update it to how they want it. So they can always forcibly do updates, which are weird. Like, I understand, like, spec tapping's really annoying, but I think the way they've gone, like, they're doing, like, trying to deal with rushers is super weird.
Yeah, but I don't know, maybe they're cornered a bit. But it just seems like the team is more inclined, they're less inclined to come out with a ton of changes every week.
Well, like, it's what, the way Valve does it, where they used to have it where pretty much everyone, I'm assuming all the employees worked on whatever they wanted, so everyone just did PVM updates.
Yeah.
And then so we got a shit ton of Slayer updates and stuff like every week. And then it's the same thing at like Valve, right? Like look at CSGO.
Yeah.
I mean, free to play with a battle royale, that's questionable. But like certain games get way more love than like other games, and it's because like no one wants to work on those games.
Yep.
People like they joke like TF2 has like 3 devs and one of them's a potted plant.
True.
Yeah. And I think Jagex was very much it. No one really wanted to work on PvP. Everyone just wanted to work on like, well, questing. Mod Wolf kind of got burnt pretty hard on his quest that he wanted to do.
Which one was that?
It was the one that was going to be the next Nezzy helmet.
Oh.
And that's why the Serp helmet got nerfed. Because they nerfed it in preparation of assuming the quest was going to go through. And Serp helmet used to be OP as fuck.
Yeah.
But then they nerfed it like super hard. And then the quest didn't go through, and he like threw a big fit on Twitter. Because he was like, I did this all in my free time.
That would be annoying.
Yeah, so like no one really wants to work on quests. But now they've made it so that everyone works on something, so it's kind of like less one-dimensional type updates, I guess.
Yeah, so if you don't know, as Deagin mentioned before, it was just like one big team that all kind of worked on stuff together. Some people worked on other things more often than others, like PvP versus PVM. But now they've separated everyone into smaller teams that will be dedicated to certain things, whether it's quality of life changes or engine work or straight PVM or questing. You know, they have a team for big PVM updates, which is where the Cabos Lowlands is coming out. So, yeah. Moving on to our community chatter of the week. And we're going to take a little time travel, a little trip through memory lane back to, I guess, 11 years ago. Would it be 11 years ago? Yeah. So, December 10th, 2007 was the day they removed the wilderness from old school RuneScape, as well as added in no more free trade.
Mm-hmm.
So, if you're not aware, which most people are, because this was like a very drastic moment for RuneScape, because RuneScape was at its peak. It had like the most players playing at any point during its life. And they decided to remove the wilderness and remove free trade. So there was trade limits on everything, or every item had its own value, and you could only trade like 50k difference on the item.
Yeah, quest points had a big factor on how much you could like merch, quote unquote.
And it caused a huge change within the game, and a lot of people quit. I quit during this period as well, because I was pissed because me and a buddy we just started a PKing clan. It was called, I don't remember, something Chaos. I had 98 strength, 95 attack, 70 defense. Like, I was all ready to PK and stuff. I think I was like level 110 at the time. Then that happened, and we were both cheesed because can't really PK in clans as well because there's no wilderness to do it in. They did bring out Bounty Hunter, which was this mini game where you go into this like volcano area, and it's just this arena basically, similar to how Bounty Hunter is here. You get selected a target, and you have to face each other, but yeah. Then they also brought out Clan Wars so that clans could still face each other, but it wasn't the same. It just it lost a huge, I don't know, part of the clanning scene and PvP scene. But the reason they had to do this was because so many people were farming gold by using like stolen credit cards, and Jagex was basically like threatened from banking companies to not be able to use credit cards on their site anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So they had to choose either find a way to stop the gold farming, or now the only way to pay for membership is what? Through checks, mailing them a check, or doing it through your phone, like SMS. And they decided to do this. And yeah, the game hit really hard. Like that was kind of its downfall. It went downhill after that, like pretty drastically. Many people stopped playing it. The protests went on for like a really, really long time. Probably one of the biggest moments in the game. I'd say the biggest moment in the game.
EOC?
EOC was shit and also bad, but at that point the game was already crashing. You know what I mean? Like it had never recovered from removal of the wilderness.
Well, RS, it was still going like pretty strong, and then EOC kind of just... Because I remember playing during that. Like I really didn't mind removal of the wilderness and free trade at the time, because I'm just like a kid. I'm just like doing my own thing. But when they, with like summoning and stuff, you know, you're kind of like, if. And then EOC, I remember like hearing about EOC. I still remember getting a message on MSN from my one buddy. Or was it MSN? Maybe I was on Vent. Wait, what year was this? I was on Vent playing with my one buddy. Or we were playing this game called Crossfire, which is like a Chinese FPS game. Yeah, we used to fuck shit up in that game. Humble brag. But
I played that game, but I only remembered being able to play or kill your own teammates with grenades.
I could have been Soldier. I don't know which one it was. All I know
it was Crossfire.
From what I remember from Crossfire is me and like our buddies would do clan battles all the time. We hit like rank 21 in clans. We're just like a bunch of like squeakers. It was fun. Anyways, I remember like logging on an event and being like, "Yo, Derek or Deagin, yo Deagin, they changed RuneScape. It's like WoW now." And I remember being like, "What?" And I go and like load up RuneScape, and I just see like EOC, and I'm like, This is not WoW. This is disgusting.
Dun, dun. Yeah, that was a big change.
I remember the rise and stuff for free trade and all that stuff. But and at the time, I was just kind of like, I didn't understand at all why they would do it.
Nobody did.
They just kind of did it. From my perspective, there was nothing to... Well, at least back then, I didn't look at any updates or anything. I would just log in and one day people like have a Granite Mall. And you're like, what's this? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, things just kind of happened, and this is one of those things, and I'm like, huh, that's really weird. All right.
Yeah, it's pretty, it was pretty crazy because, like, you couldn't even borrow items off people. Eventually, they came out so that you could lend items.
Yeah.
So you could use someone's item for, I guess, X amount of time. I don't know. And then it also, they brought out...
Coin share and loot share.
Yeah, loot share, coin share, where you'd kill a monster and it would, like, automatically sell the item and then split it amongst the party, which was like people have asked for it in this game, but the reason they don't bring it out is because it caused many items to crash in price, because you could just free for all and not have to, you know what I mean? You go free for all bandos and just keep, you know, all those new bandos chest plates and tassets that would drop.
There's also a way with the coin share is that it brought money into the game because it chose the GE value was, and then it would give you whatever the average price is at the time, just in cash. It would generate the gold.
I always thought it automatically sold it.
No, because imagine like some prices being fucky and you're like, what? This, you know what I mean? Like, like merchant clans could crash an item by like 4 or 5 mil and make a fuck ton of money. From my understanding, it like went for whatever the price would have been, and it just turned it into the gold and then split it, and it brought in a lot of gold into the game, which is why there's like such a big inflation in RS3.
Yes, that's why people don't want it in this game, which is understandable. You know, you kind of have to go and do it old school. Get your own party together, and hopefully nobody scams you. But they also brought out request assist so that you could get someone else to create an item for you if you didn't have the levels. let's say you didn't have the Herblore level to make Super Restore potions, and you had all the ingredients for it. You could request assist from someone else. They would make it for you. So they had that came out. The way currency works started to change too, because you can now buy items. Let's say you wanted to buy an Armadillo God Sword for like 20 mil, whatever the price is. But let's say it's 20 mil, and you have 10 mil cash on you. What was it? 10 mil cash? You started being able to trade junk items that you could never use, but they had some value to it. So those started to become partially used for currency. So you would trade like, I don't know, an Armadillo God Sword plus 10 mil junk items for like 30 mil cash. I'm getting it all wrong because I can't entirely remember it, but I do know that you'd have people saying like buying Armadillo God Sword, 15 mil plus 7 mil in junk items or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it got a little squirrely at some points. Yeah, down the road they brought PvP worlds, which is when they brought in corrupted armor which was like dragon armor for free to play that would degrade over time. So they brought in the PvP worlds to replace the wilderness, and then one day they just straight up brought the wilderness back.
Yeah,
so they kind of went back on it. But if you go watch the 15-year documentary of RuneScape.
The one on their YouTube?
Yeah, they have a documentary, though. You can watch it. It's really good. I actually would recommend it. It's super interesting. It's not, like, crazy nerdy. Like, I don't know. I feel like even if you didn't play RuneScape, you could watch it, and it's pretty interesting. Because they talk about when they removed the free trade and why they had to do it, and the effect that it had on the game, and, like, the aftermath, and all that stuff. Talks about, like, Andrew Gower leaving old school RuneScape at some point. It's cool. It's a really good documentary because it talks about how it was started by like 3 people.
Yeah, 3 brothers.
Yeah, and then they slowly got a few more people, and it started to really take off. And then they had these milestones that they wanted to hit, where when they hit these milestones, they would all go do some sort of fun activity as a company. And it got to the point where every week they were hitting like at least one milestone. So they'd be going on like vacations and stuff all the time because of like how successful the game did.
Mm-hmm.
And then it talks about when he left and why he left. And you can tell that he somewhat regretted it. The reason he left was because he didn't like being a boss. He liked being able to work on things and contributing to it. And he didn't want to like oversee an actual company because that's what they became. So he said he stepped down from that, put someone else in charge, but he would still work on the game a bit. But then he found that the direction of the game, like his vision of it, started to change, and he had no say whether or not it could go in that direction. So he ended up leaving. And yeah, now we're here.
Yep.
Pretty cool stuff. Pretty crazy to see where we are today with the game. Yeah, old school RuneScape came back right before the wilderness got taken out. So yeah, you can tell that's when they're like, man, this is when everything went downhill.
Yeah. Let's
bring it back right beforehand and see if we can save it. And it's crazy to see how well the game's doing, especially now with mobile, all these new updates that have come out since. I probably mentioned it before, but in the timeline, if this game was continuing from 2007, we would have had EOC by now.
Mm-hmm.
Because it took 5 years or so?
Yeah.
For EOC to come out. We're at the 5-year mark now, past it. We're about to hit 6 years. A couple months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's doing pretty good, better than ever, and all the updates have been pretty damn good. Kalos Lowlands looks awesome, and they've never felt the need that they go, hey, we need to change up how combat works because we've kind of cornered ourselves a bit. We've power creeped. But yeah, that's about it for community chatter. A fun thing to do, there's a RuneScape 3 podcast called RSBNB, but they've been going on for years, and they have an episode from when this actually happened. I went back to listen to it. It's kind of interesting to see, like, they were doing a podcast when this whole thing was going on. It wasn't as extreme to them, but we were all so young, and they were too when they were recording the show. But it's pretty cool. So if you want to take it and just stroll down memory lane again, go check out some of their older episodes.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's about it. Do you think it's a good idea the way they're doing these updates? We were talking about it before, that they're less focusing on having weekly lots of updates coming out, and they're more focusing on big updates a couple times a year. I think that's most games do that. Most companies.
I don't know. I don't like, because I know how they're gonna do it. So every week, there's just gonna be balance. Like we're gonna like these shitty balance updates to PvP that
But I would say rightfully so. I feel like a lot of PvP updates need to happen.
I mean, like they go about it in a shitty way. They did spec tabbing, but they really didn't. Like I feel like when they initially did it, like you would assume that the way spec tabbing would work is when you spec someone. Not if you queue up a spec, you know what I mean? Like it's weird they have to go back. Like, oh yeah, we kind of messed this up, so let's fix it.
It seems like they don't want to do a crazy change, but at the same time, when they make, like how they had it originally, where you could queue up your spec, they would see we're not really doing anything. People can still spec and tab.
Yeah, exactly.
So it's kind of difficult because you piss people off by doing any of these updates. So they got to take like baby steps.
Well, so what's going to happen is that there's going to be like one part of the game that doesn't do anything major because like PvP like will just be these weird minor balance tweaks for like that's it. You know what I mean? Like there's gonna be like one part of like the team that has to fill in like the weekly updates because like
they might just be ready for it too.
The PVM updates, it's like they flop. They're not like they flop more times than not. Really, like look at like Fossil Island, they like kind of ramped up heavily for that, and it took them a lot of updates, and they're still like with the whole bird's nest stuff. Like they still like make pretty big mistakes to the game that cause like huge crashes in the economy, and like they have to do big balance changes to other parts of the game. You know what I mean? Like it's still gonna happen.
It's always gonna happen.
I would prefer that they kept it how it used to be. And then
the problem with how it used to be, though, is these problems would happen, and they would just be like, okay, we'll poll to see whether or not we should nerf these things.
Well, they wouldn't poll nerfs; they just do them. But then, like,
a few times they did, though. It took them. They were like gun shy to actually nerf certain things. And now they're just saying, "Fuck it, we're gonna do it."
Well, they've always been gun shy, I guess, to nerf things in general.
But it seems like they're more willing to come out every week and do these changes to balance something properly, to get it to where they want it.
Well, for PvP, yeah, but you can't really do that for PVM.
Well, you can. They do with the bird's nests. That's a perfect example. You know what I mean?
Because we lost 300 mil from their bank tab because of that shit with the updates.
Because what do you mean?
Because high-end PVM gear crashed fucking hard, and I lost 300 mil total in my bank value with all my PVM items due to it linked to bird's nest and brews and using that for rating and shit like that.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It seems a bit of a stretch to me, but
I mean, I could show you my bank value.
But I don't know if you could link that straight to bird's nests.
You can.
They would drop hundreds of mil because of bird's nests?
So the way that works specifically is that with the PVM resources being so cheap, a lot of people are more willing to do PVM stuff.
Well, the resources were, but the Ceradoran brews didn't drop too much. The herbs went up in price while the nests crashed. Which ended up with
the influx of how all the PVM and how like money making, how everything's being put in the game, how they're changing how the certain drops affect certain bosses, all this stuff. During that update, like my Kodai dropped 30 mil, like the wand dropped 30 mil. I lost 20 mil on each ancestral people, the two other ancestral pieces. Like my armor went down, like all my pieces went down. Because I have like dragon claws and shit, right? I have like a bunch of random ass pieces.
Yeah.
And I could go and see like, why would this go down? Oh, because you use brews for like raids and shit, blah, 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 blah. Like a lot of changes in my bank. Maybe it's recovered. I haven't checked in a bit because I haven't really played like recently. But like they'll do major changes that they should like there's some things that like look at the collection log. Why do we have to unlock it? Like there's some things that like they're kind of being rushed because of like the way it's set. Where I'm assuming going on a limb here. I'm making a stretch, but like let's say there's like the PVM team is like 20 people. I'm assuming 15 of them are working on the core game, the core update, and then they have like 5 people like kind of scrounging all the suggestions and stuff, and then they're kind of just quickly throwing it together, putting them out for like the weekly updates, and then there's like issues, and they're like, shit, let's fix it.
Well, when they had talked about how they're going to break the teams down, they did say they're going to have people who are focusing on smaller updates and taking suggestions. Yeah. And then they would have one team working on big, you know what I mean? So you'd have people working on different PVM stuff,
Yeah.
but they're not really working together.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's bad.
What's the point in having one giant team when you have like half of them are gonna, no matter what, gonna be focusing on the big updates? You don't want to pull them away from that.
It's all about like communication, right?
Yeah.
I would, instead of having like let's say 6 medium sized or like chunky updates for like the game, right? Like every 2 months.
Yeah.
And then they do like 4 or something, or maybe even 2 big updates which was like the RuneFest things, like Cables comes out January, you know, maybe like June or something, another one comes, like, you know, if they depending if they're like doing their updates quarterly, which they probably want for, you know, stocks and shit like that, I guess. It can cause these really big updates that aren't good for the game, and then they're quickly moving on to the next one, and then they have like the little team trying to fix it all, and it becomes super
sometimes
messy.
I feel like it's hard to release something and know exactly what the effect will be down the road.
Well, you don't know exactly, but like there's some things that you could tell.
Like the Bird's Nest one, False Island's been out for like over a year, and it's like since Theater of Blood, it started to go down in price. So it's kind of hard to tell.
Before that, well, since people realized that you could like since people started doing it on like an hourly timer, pretty much, you saw like a slow decline, because there's obviously a lot of brews and shit being put or taken out of the game just by being used.
Yeah.
Like it's like a snowball effect. People start doing it, and like they tell 2 friends, and everyone starts doing it. But like if you were to like break it down with how many nests you're supposed to get, and then like when they did the nerf, and it was like, well, this isn't anything what they said you're gonna get way more. Like I'm getting 1 or 2 nests a run now. I'm supposed to be getting 7 on average. I've done 8 today.
Yeah,
and I've gotten 1. My average is 3. Like that clearly they didn't. When they did the nerf, they like did the math wrong or something, right? Like there's some basic mess up where the drop rate was too low. Because when they did the nerf,
well, they changed it from like 12, so now you get like 7, and it's depending on your level now, not depending on what the birdhouse is.
Exactly, yeah. So when they did it, like so let's just say like you get 7 to 82, throwing out a random number. People that had 82 and stuff were averaging like 1 to 3 per run. Throughout like the next couple
since the
days.
nerf.
Yeah,
you know this because they've mentioned.
If you looked at the Reddit, everyone was saying like it's fucked, and I think they've gone back and tweaked it. I don't know. I didn't really keep up on it. I've never done Bird's Nest because I hate dailies, and hourlies sound awful. Like farm runs are annoying for me. I can't imagine doing an hourly fucking Bird's Nest run. So I'd prefer more updates that aren't as big and game changing.
When I say big update, though, I'm not talking like a Bird's Nest change. That's
a small update.
Yeah, it's a small. I'm talking like the Cables Lowlands.
Yeah, and so like there's a lot of things that like a lot of huge updates that have flopped.
I wouldn't consider False Island flopping. It was never meant to be. The problem is not meant to be for like the end game players.
Well, like they've made so many changes to it, like all the volcanic mine changes.
But I'm glad they're making these. Like I don't feel like it's too hard to bring out something and then be like it's perfect the way it is.
Well, I'm not saying perfect, but
like close to perfect, like good enough. I feel like I'd rather them.
I think if they come out with an update, the expectation from like them and us should be like, this is a good update.
I think False Island was a good update. It brought so many different things you could do. It's just that they're always balancing. Well, it can't be too good.
Well, like
everything has to be average, which makes it like, well, what's the point in going to do the underwater agility course?
So like but like the whole dead content meme.
But it's hard for them because you have so many people. Like if it's the best experience rates, people are pissed about that. If it's like the shittiest experience rates, are like, what's the point of that? So they're like trying to do it right in the middle, and then it's average, and they're just like, well, why would I go do this when I can go do that already? You know what I mean? It's just, it gets hard, so I can understand why they have to do these little tweaks, but I prefer them to do this way because they stopped doing these type of nerfs and tweaks to the game. It's like since recently they're more ready to like actually do these changes to get things to where they want.
Yeah.
Because I complained before where it's just like I hate when they come out with an update and then you don't know if that's how it's going to be for the rest of the game, or if they're going to actually change it to make it where they want it to be. And that seems like what they're doing now.
Yeah. So for like if I'm predicting like issues with Kalos Lowlands, is that the Slayer Master is going to be really overpowered, where now you don't need Duradel or Neve. I can already see that being an issue, especially because he's like what 75 combat that you need or something, or like a low combat. He's going to be like the best Taskmaster guy. Hydras are going to be stupid money. They're going to be like, because demonic gorillas are really good money right now. If you stay there long enough, if you're hitting the average drop rates, and like the average person will make like over 3 mil an hour at demonic gorillas if you have like rigor and stuff, which is fine, whatever. They're a bitch. But like I already know there's gonna be issues with Slayer, and then I feel like the whole farming update's gonna be like the Bird's Nest 2.0, where like it's gonna just bring in so much herbs and money and stuff into the game that it's gonna start fluctuating with everything.
Yeah, we'll have to wait and see, because I feel like it'll be one way or the other, either too good or too shit. It's hard, to, you know what I mean? They might have learned from Vorkath.
Or Zulrah.
Or Zulrah, yeah. So, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. Anyways, let's move it on. Since we're kind of catching up on our bearings, and this is my last week of finals, I'm not sure if I'm going to do lore this week. I don't know if I'm going to be in front of my microphone to actually do it. Anyway, so let's move on to the Grand Exchange. So we're going to tell you about some things. Yeah, just some things. So if you like audiobooks and podcasts and normal books, well, then you might enjoy Audible. So you can go to audibletrial.com/wild and get a free month and a free audiobook. And yeah, it's kind of the go-to place for audiobooks. And if you don't want to continue paying for it, you can cancel it and you will keep your audiobook, which is kind of nice because sometimes you can't finish a 50-hour book in a month. So yeah, audibletrial.com/wild. And now, if you want to support the show directly, you can do that on Patreon by going to patreon.com/thewildernesspodcast. Our supporter this week is Beer Daddy. So thank you very much for supporting us. And when we come out with our own homebrewed wilderness IPA, we will send you that. Probably in a Ziploc bag, because glass is expensive. But yeah, you can try it out. And
well, if you're actually in America, it's illegal to ship alcohol. I looked it up.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh. Well,
at least from Canada to America.
We'll meet at the border, and I'll toss it over the fence.
Yeah.
Is there a fence? Do we got a fence going around between the two?
I hope so.
It's like a shitty picket fence.
Nah, you can just go into the woods somewhere and cross.
Yeah, true. Okay.
There's like, through a border, there's like a clear cut in between Canada and North America. If you're not on the major roads, you could like literally, one person's like standing behind one tree, and there's like a, 30-foot clear cut of just like grass or something, and peek out in the woods and just toss it.
Cool, we'll do that. We'll meet in Saskatchewan somewhere. So we'll do that, and you can get your beer in a bag. It's a good name. It got a good ring to it. But yeah, thank you very much for supporting us. You are an amazing person. And thank you to every single person for supporting the show. We love you dearly. You guys are the best. And yeah, Deagin, you said you wanted to release some of your DIND stuff onto the Patreon. Some D&D stuff?
I have this week's recorded, but it was like such a shit fest. And because a lot of us are new, a lot of it was like, okay, how do I, there was like 20, 30 minutes of like me having to roll initiative for everyone, because I would explain it, and then they wouldn't do it. Like, this is how you do it. Click your token, click initiative button on your character sheet. Okay, it's not working. Click your token, you know what I mean? Okay, and this is like setting up a fight is me, like, all the monsters, the positioning, hiding lines of sight, rolling for them, organizing it all, and then it's like, and then at some point I'm like, you guys have to fucking start doing some of this shit on your own. But, so for like, maybe in a week or two, because we do have another session planned. I was just going to do like a recap of what they've done before. But yeah, D&D, little bonus episodes, I think, if it like works out.
Fun. And if anyone's interested in actually doing like maybe an online Dungeons and Dragons, but maybe using the RuneScape world, let me know, because that sounds kind of fun. Maybe we can set something up. Yeah, anyways, on to what we're doing with the show. We have our RuneScape Trivia Night planned for January, I think it's 4th. That's a Friday, so if you want to get into the New Year's fun, literally in the new year, And we're going to figure out, maybe you're going to have to do a sign-up sheet or sign up similar to the Connect 4 tournament, but there will be some prizes. Thunder Slay was so kind to give us 15 mil to do some sort of giveaway. I'm going to have to talk with him to see what he is interested in doing, but we might do a giveaway maybe for Christmas, or maybe we'll throw it into the pot for the RuneScape trivia. But again, more information on that once I get in contact with him. And thank you for the for that donation to give away. So 15 mil to be won. And we got an email from Josh. So he says, hey, just wanted to say I love the show. I'm a returning player from forever ago, and I just can't believe I can fish lobsters while I'm building cars. Mobile's dope, but I got wrecked trying Horror of the Deep at a lower level. Guess something's got to be done on the PC. I downloaded RuneLite based on you guys talking about it. Is it really not cheating that I can see all the Arceus books in the library? Seems sketchy to me. Anyways, done rambling. Keep up the good work and vape on. Hell yeah, man, vape on.
Little tip for Horror from the Deep. You can use those big stalagmites. There's like a big stalagmite when you're fighting the Dagnauth dude. Ma'am and sir. You can save spot behind that. Pop
True.
Out. When I've done it on my pures and stuff, you just stand there, get the right color that you want, pop out, cast it, run behind, and you can make it a very slow and easy process. Pizza with anchovy. Good, cheap food that's really effective.
Yeah, I think that's the way most pures do it, because you want to get that Zamorak book for PKing. It is a little bit of a pain in the ass if it's like your first account going through it. Some of these quests are.
Yeah, you can definitely take your time and use that. There's a big stalactite or mite, like a little bit northeast, kind of. You'll know when you get there. Yeah.
Where you'll know it when you see it.
Yeah.
But it's cool. Mobile has done a lot for it. When I was working construction, I did mobile all the time. I got like 99 cooking for the most part because of it. I was able to do it on break. I would just stop working sometimes and just play mobile. I remember I spent a whole day doing Slayer, but fortunately with my job now, I just bring my laptop and I can just play it there because it's so slow on the weekdays. And I also just kind of edit the podcast. I always wonder if I'm going to get in trouble for that, because like customers will walk in, I have like these headphones on just on my laptop, just like
you're listening to episode.
Yeah. Sorry guys, just 1 second, just gonna do this here.
Shh. Yeah, tell that kid to quiet down.
Yeah, I always wonder, like, a bunch of kids will be playing whatever, and there's like a cafeteria area, and then there's a front end, and they're both connected, and I'm kind of sitting in the middle of my laptop with my headphones on. I'm always wondering if it's just like, is this the kind of establishment this place is running? Like, look at this guy, he's not hosting at all, he's on his computer with headphones on, like noise-canceling headphones. Yeah, and then RuneLite, it's a game changer, but yeah, there are some OS Buddy was the same way. There's like some plugins where you go, seems like it makes it way too easy.
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind, before that specific one, you're talking about the Arceus, where it shows you the locations.
Yeah.
It's all a pattern, and it was actually like discovered by someone during King of the Skill. And
yeah, that's right.
They were like taking notes, like, hey, oh, it's here, and they would like write it down, and they would like, you're able to do it pen and paper. And there's Wooks, he's a content creator. He made a GitHub, which is a program that would map it out for you. Right. And so RuneLite kind of just took like pattern, the algorithm, I don't even know what you would call it, but they implemented it to their client, and if there's anything that's too overpowered, Jagex will tell them to take it out, and it's happened in the past. They say, hey, can you please remove this? And then they comply and they'll remove it. So it is safe to use. You won't get banned, don't worry. Just make sure you're using the right RuneLite client.
Yeah, double check.
I mean, if you haven't been hacked by now, you're probably using the right one. But
or your account's not worth it yet.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks for writing in. If you guys do want to get in contact and stay up to date with the news, you can come hang out in-game at WildCC. Our email is thewildernesspodcast@gmail.com. Our Twitter is @thewildernessrs. Our Facebook is facebook.com/thewildernesspodcast. We also have a group where you can discuss and share things, so if you want to join that, it is linked in there. And our Discord is posted on Facebook and Twitter, so you can click that link, it'll get you right in there. Or you can ask one of us, and we'll get you a link as well. I don't think I'm forgetting anything, so on that note, our song of the week is Dimension X Funny enough, I was trying to decide between this song and the other song we chose, which I believe was Spooky, on what our conspiracy music should be. Dimension X is a weird and trippy one, but Spooky was just much more fitting. So yeah, Dimension X is a music track that is unlocked in the Gorok Plain, which is an area to go to during Fairy Tale Part 2, the quest. The song was composed by Adam Bond. Came out July 2006. A little fun note there. So thanks so much for listening, guys, for episode 113. Next week will be the 114.
Yeah, have a good one.
Yeah, take care, guys. Scape and vape on.